Okay, got it. All right,
Hey,
Bobby,
Sue Guyett, you are on.
thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me to share about the Pullman Good Food Co-op. Kathleen, as was announced, was supposed to be here. She can't. She's en route to New York City. So I did invite Jeff to join me just to help with some of the technical maneuvering with questions in the chat, and also join me when we talk about our partnership with Community Action Center and helping to address food insecurity. So Jeff, do you have any tips for us tonight for questions and answers?
Well, hi. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep an eye on the chat, and I'm going to also make sure if you want to ask a question, use the raise hand function or type it in the chat, or you can just wave and we'll try to interrupt Sue in a place where maybe she won't lose track of what she's saying, and we'll get those questions answered for you. That's it. That's all I'll be doing.
Can you do that, or do I need to grant you multiple participant kind of thing?
I'm not gonna share screens or anything. I'm just gonna keep an eye on the chat, and then I'll also keep an eye on if folks raise their hands, I can see it on the screen. So we should be good.
Okay, great.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So when Bobby talked to me when I was in the middle of the country, she said, hey, we're just gonna be sitting in a living room, real casual, no big deal, just speak for a few minutes. And so I really liked that idea. And then she came back and said, yeah, well, sorry, it's not going to be in a living room, but that's all okay. So I just wanted to talk as if we are sitting in a living room, sipping wine, drinking beer, having a cup of tea. Because really this kind of conversation reflects the culture of the Pullman Good Food Co-op, just one that's open, warm, friendly, where we can take time to get to know each other. So tonight, I'm going to let you know a little bit about where we are right now and what's next. But first, I wanted to just give a little bit of the backstory. So for those that you don't know, as Bobby said, food co-ops are grassroots, community-built economic drivers. They're directed from the bottom up. I love that part. Its owners are community members like you and me who direct the store with democratic voting power and by sitting on a board. So each year the owners will elect board members that represent their values. Some are like healthy eating, supporting local, strengthening our community and our local food systems. Those are just some of the passions that some of our owners have and the people in Pullman have. So the Pullman Good Food Co-op then reflects this. This board then provides direction to the store's general manager. So the general manager really is supported by the ownership. But there's something really interesting about food co-ops in that they're a little bit different than other grocery stores, and that is that the profits that come from the store stay in Pullman. They're through patronage dividends, shareholder returns, and supporting community projects. So super excited to be a part of this kind of entity for our community. So let's just get started. We're creating a food co-op or why are we creating a food co-op in Pullman when there's really an awesome food co-op over across the border? And there's a really simple answer to that, because for years, so many people in Pullman have been wanting a food co-op in their own backyard. You see, food co-ops aren't just doing business in Pullman. We are community. The store is you and me, its owners. So it will take on this co-op will take on its own character. Every food co-op, there are a lot of them. We're all about eating healthy and sustainable living. These kinds of things, are kind of overarching. But in every community, a food co-op takes on takes on the character of the community. So because it's built by its owners. So we started about 3 years ago with a small group of passionate people. And now we're over 600 members strong. And that's pretty exciting for just 3 years. We've talked to a lot of consultants over the last year, and they're saying, what? You have 600 members already? That's crazy. You have a great community. They're really behind this. Well, you know, our volunteers have carved out time in their already busy schedule, and they're doing, you know, some of the development of the store, you know, the administrative duties, the community outreach, owner recruitment, raising capital. And, you know, it takes time. There's a lot of things to do in starting a grocery store. So a typical timeline that we're learning is stores like these take about 8 to 10 years to open. And I thought, wow, that's crazy. No, let's just get this store, you know, open in 2 or 3 years. Well, you know, I'm learning step by step just how much is involved. But we do help to beat, we do, the board really wants to beat this timeline. We don't want it to take the 8 to 10 years. But in order to do that, it really depends on community support and investment. So right now, what we're up to right now is increasing membership base, searching for the best location, and designing the capital campaign. And with all the economic changes going on, we're learning that food co-ops across the nation take about 1,000 to 2,000 members just to open the store. So, and I believe it's just the construction costs have skyrocketed. We all know that. Lenders now are requiring a lot more collateral. So, you know, this is why it takes just a large group of people and significant capital to launch the store. But I am confident that Pullman can make this happen. Why? Because we're hardworking, we're smart, we're innovative, and we're a real generous community. I've worked, done a lot of work with Community Action Center and other organizations, and this community is awesome. I'm just super impressed. So, and I've been here, what, 12 or 15 years, I think. So let's pause here for a minute because I said the magic word, you know, location. It's a really hot topic and with a lot of conversation. So I'm sure some of you are wondering, hey, where is the store going to be? Well, let me just give you a little bit. You know, a year and a half ago, we have a location committee that has been built from our owner base. We always want our owners to be a part of this process, you know, launching the store. And so we had about 10 or 12 people, including board members, start searching. So we created from some of our consultants that we've been that have been advising us. We use 8 criteria to systematically assess each location. And so over this time period, I think we looked at over 20 different locations and we scored each of them, right? Based on the criteria. So we found a location that we thought, oh my gosh, this is the best one yet. And so we started conversation with a property owner, I think back in January sometime. We met with them and it's been a long, slow process. You know, I'm one of those that I just get stuff done. If, you know, I grab onto something, I just want it done yesterday. Well, that's not really the case here. It doesn't happen that way. But it is a slow process, but we're but the owners are super positive about leasing to us. They're not wanting to sell, but they are open to leasing. Just the hitch is that the property owners have asked us to not make the location public yet. So I'm so sorry, no hits tonight. but maybe soon, hopefully. So now that we're at this stage, we've invited a consultant team that has expertise in food co-op startups, and they will be here next week to do a market analysis and help us with our pro forma. And then this information, and I think they said it would take, after their visit, it would take 3 or 4 years to get the report. So stay tuned. But the information that's going to be generated from this report will help us shape that capital campaign that I mentioned a little bit.
Hey, Sue.
Oh, yeah.
Can I pause for a second?
Yep.
So you just said 3 to 4 years to get the report. I don't think that's what you mean.
Oh, month.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Oh my, no. So to get, oh my gosh, thank you, Jeff. To get the report is 3 to 4 weeks. That's better. All right.
Not months, weeks.
No, weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. That's what they told us. Hey, we're going to come in, we're going to spend 3-4 days with you. We're going to do this analysis and build this pro forma. And within a month or so, we'll have the report back out to you. So pretty excited about that. So the wheels are turning, and we're getting pretty excited about it. We just don't have a lot of hard facts, exciting facts to share, like, what is it going to cost to start the store? Where's the location? Things like that. So, but, we're kind of quiet and we're working behind the scenes. We have a capital campaign committee that's also made up with owners and board members. And our goal, we have had a lot of conversation about funding the store. And so our goal really is to fund it through grants, donations, and issuing capital stock. So structuring our funding this way, it really helps reduce our debt load and helps to keep the store expenditures down. And that in turn will benefit shoppers at the register, not just people that are experiencing food insecurity, but all shoppers. So learning about this funding structure is pretty exciting for us. We could use help with funding or finding grants, however, if there's anybody here right now that's interested in helping in this area. Just a little. Yep.
So you have a question. The question was, what's the name of the consulting firm, if you can share that? And then you may want to touch on your board members, how many there are and kind of who they are, if you get a chance to. That'd be great.
Sure. So Simplified Business Solutions is the consultant that we're using. And if you Google them and go out to their website, it does not reflect the quality of their service. It really isn't that impressive. So don't base a decision on that, please. So they come highly recommended by other consultants, and Food Cooperative Initiative is really an organization that has been helping us along the way with starting the co-op. They are an organization that helps food co-ops expand and start and do startups, and they've been doing this for years. So anyways, they're referred, they are seen as a real great consultant firm to link up with. So anyways, SBS, we call them, and we'll be visiting them next Wednesday through Friday or Saturday. So stay tuned. What was the other? Our board.
Yeah, the question had to do with your board structure. Yeah, how many board members and if you can share who they are.
Yeah, so I see that Ashley Vaughn is on this call. Hi, Ashley. She was a board member that just jumped off last June because she has a beautiful brand new daughter and is devoting all her time to her daughter. But so there are 6 of us right now. We had one, Allison Fisher. She had to jump off temporarily. She's taking a temporary leave. And so we are going to appoint another board member in her place. Kathleen Ryan is another board member. Ken Cassavant, Willow Falcon. Who else? Am I missing one? Ray Olson. Is that 6? Did I just say 6? And me? Is that
Sorry,
6?
I didn't keep track. I should have. I was looking at questions. Sorry.
All right. So those are our board members. We rotate 3 board members off each year, and then 3 new ones come on. So we just had our first election this June. So that was pretty fun. So, we stay silent. We go, oh my, for a long time, and people are going, well, like, is there going to be a food co-op? What are you doing? Well, we're so busy trying to figure out how to do our elections, right? All the paperwork that goes on behind that. So those are kind of some of the things we do when we're silent. So please forgive us, be patient.
There's another question that Libby asked, and it's a really good one. And it's one that was logically asked very early by the co-op board. And I remember the board going through a feasibility study. Is there evidence that our area can support 2 food co-ops? And my understanding was from the feasibility study, it said very clearly there were, but maybe you want to elucidate a little bit or share a little bit about that.
Yes, that's exactly right. So when we first started, we thought, we just need to get a market study going just to see if a food co-op is sustainable here, and yes, the market study did indicate that there is a strong market for a food co-op in Pullman, even when there's a co-op over in Moscow. And this consultant that did the market study, actually the Moscow Food Co-op uses her as well. So pretty fun. We've had just a little caveat here, kind of going off my script, but we've met with the Moscow Food Co-op board right before COVID hit, like February-ish, I think. We had a potluck, and our board and their board got together at my house, and we just had a great time. It was just, we really want to support each other. I've had another conversation meeting with them. Oh gosh, when was it? Sometime early this year. I met with them as well, and they just are reaching out saying, gosh, how can we help you? What do you need? Let's work together on this. Because, they did want to come over here and start another branch of their co-op, but for legal purposes, Washington State is really super strict, more strict than Idaho. But they ran into some roadblocks and really weren't able to do this. So that's just kind of a back story about our relationship together. So we're working really well together, and hope to continue to do that in the future. I keep forgetting to look at my camera to look at you, so please forgive me. I start looking everywhere else. I'm not used to the Zoom thing. I like the living room venue, but anyways, are there any other questions that are come up so far? Okay.
No, you're good to go. Just go ahead and carry on. You're great.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So, we're talking about grants, and hey, if there's anybody that wants to help us in that area, gosh, we sure would appreciate it. But the other, donations we're talking about right now, we're not a tax deductible entity according to the feds, but through fiscal sponsorship, we can offer tax deductible contributions. And we're currently working with Community Action Center on this front because our missions around food insecurity align. And so I was going to invite you, Jeff, if you want to share a little bit about this fiscal sponsorship program.
Yeah, so the co-op board is going to present to our board here shortly a proposal to have CAC be a fiscal sponsor of the co-op for the purposes of actually helping receive donations to open the store. And the agreement that we're kind of laying out together would be that we would accept those donations up until the point where the store opens and operates and is then sustaining itself through its sales. So the idea is, and it's an IRS approved way to do this. If we, to boil it down, if we consider the co-op a project of Community Action Center, we have a memorandum of understanding about that. We are able to be the fiscal sponsor and receive charitable donations on behalf of the co-op. We're in full control of the donations, and we will obviously allocate them to help the store operate as a fulfillment of that project. But we're really kind of excited about it. The board has some really good questions. Our board has some really good questions for the food co-op board. So we're still working on that letter of agreement or memorandum of understanding, but we'll be having the board visit our board sometime in the next month or two, and we'll let you know how that goes forward. But that's kind of the real quick and dirty way to understand fiscal sponsorship.
To follow up on that, Jeff, do you mind if I ask? So is there a reason Community Action Center is 501c3? Is that right? And so, yes, you can accept donations, but over the long haul, will the co-op become a 501c3? It'll be independent?
No, the structure for the co-op is different. It's a nonprofit, but it's a nonprofit cooperative. And so it structurally is not allowed to receive charitable contributions. So we see this as a window during the capital campaign phase, but not after the co-op. However, I think Sue's going to touch on some ways that the co-op can receive donations that would go toward helping with folks who are food insecure in the form of providing discounts and that kind of thing. Or did you already share that, Sue?
No, I think that's coming up really soon. Okay.
Yeah, so basically because we do have a charitable status and we're able to receive donations, we can name this co-op as a project of, and because the missions around food insecurity align so well, it's pretty easy for us to do that. We're also a fiscal sponsor currently for the Palouse Free Clinic that was opened in 2016, I think. Although they've been pretty inactive during COVID, that's been a great addition to the community to provide some medical service. And it's aligns with our mission, but it's really not something CAC was ever going to do. So it really works well for us to be a fiscal sponsor of that activity.
All right. So now that we're on the subject of food insecurity and talking about ways in which we can help, let's just dive into that. The board has been discussing through the process of creating the store. What are the ways that we can help make food more affordable for people that are experiencing food insecurity? So we're taking a multi-layered approach. And so, one of the layers is, in addition to our funding approach, the Pullman Good Food Co-op plans to participate in a program called Double Up Food Bucks. And it's a federal program, federally funded program where eligible families can get $20 of produce for $10, and that's daily. So I think that's a really good deal. 50% off. I don't think anybody gets that in a grocery store. So we'll participate in that. The board also is discussing a program that we call Roundup at the Register, and that's what Jeff was referring to, where donations are made at checkout and funds can go to support our local food banks or give steeper discounts at the register for those who are eligible. So, that's another layer. We also plan to offer a food rescue program. And I was going to let Jeff, sorry to keep picking on you, Jeff, but I was going to let you share a little bit about that because you have more experience.
Yeah, so we currently run actually, I should make Ashley share about that because she actually helped set up and run our food rescue program at Community Action Center. where we actually receive food that's been prepared and not served from the dining services primarily up on campus. And then we receive that and repackage it and then distribute it back out through the food bank. It's been a great program. We see doing that with the food co-op as a really, really great cooperative venture or collaborative venture. And because the co-op will have a cafe, there'll be some prepared foods that we'll be able to receive and distribute, as well as product that is close to expiring or produce that's not quite perfect, right? That is going to otherwise go to waste. We can sometimes get that distributed out as well. And Ashley, if you do want to jump in, feel free. But that's also just kind of a real quick understanding of what food rescue might look like.
Thanks so much, Jeff. So other programs that we hope to offer are teaching people how to shop and eat healthy on a budget. How to cook, how to garden all year round. And you're going, okay, all year round, like in the wintertime gardening? And I'm going, yeah, the wintertime we can do indoor hydroponics. I've been doing it for years. I grow all of our leafy greens, all of our sprouts, our microgreens, some of our herbs, and it provides food for us, healthy, fresh food. We just pick it the day we eat it. I've been doing that. Jeff's been enjoying it. And even Community Action Center has over 250 heads of lettuce in their hallways, growing in their hallways and in their classroom. And it's all done hydroponically. So, and that way the food bank patrons then can have fresh, healthy food every time they visit. So that's a really great opportunity. The food co-op is all about food education. That's the bottom line. You know, whatever we can do to help out, educate, we're there. We're behind it. All right, so helping low-income families and keeping dollars in Pullman are just a few of the many benefits that food co-ops offer its community. You know, let's talk about ways that the Pullman Good Food Co-op can enhance our local food system. You know, especially in food co-ops, there are very few barriers to entry for farmers and producers to get their product on the shelf. So far, with the help of Ashley, she's done most of this work, bless her heart, reached out, and we've had conversation with about 30 local suppliers that are real excited about doing business with our store. So we're encouraged on that front, and we hope to build on those numbers. As we talked about, fresh and local produce is really difficult to come by in the winter. So if the ownership is interested, the co-op could be a great partner in developing indoor crop production at a major scale and offering, you know, some of this leafy greens, herbs, tomatoes, even cucumbers, bell peppers, growing them in the winter indoors can go, you know, supply the store, but also other restaurants, other stores, the co-op across our borders, and even the school district. So there's a real potential there to really strengthen our local food system. And the Pullman Good Food Co-op really wants to be a part of that. So we've just talked about the co-op being an economic driver in this community for years to come. But we have to get it launched. So I know some of you are just wondering, gosh, how can I help? And, you know, a few ways: you could become a member. You could post a yard sign in your front door or even in your business, and, you know, let people know just how important and valuable the co-op is to this community. You can also invite other people to join. You know, word of mouth is the best marketing tool ever, right? You can also jump on one of our committees if you have a few hours a week and you want to help. Just get in contact us through, you can contact me. I monitor the both emails, hello@pullmangoodfoodcoop.com, or membership at pullmangoodfoodcoop.com. I check it out 2-3 times a day. So let us know. You could also think about how you might invest when the capital campaign is officially launched. So that kind of brings, is there a question, Jeff?
Yeah, so Bobby was asking about the indoor food production, whether or not that would require a commercial growing license. And I think it likely would, but I don't know if you know the answer, or maybe Ashton knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, it's an idea at this point. And it's kind of in my brain, but I want to launch the food co-op first before I start diving into that. But hey, if anybody else wants to jump on it, have at it. It would be so cool. You know, I have, who is it? Who owns that big Quonset hut thing across from the old lumber yard? Clint Cole?
No, yeah, right.
Clint
Yep.
Cole?
Or he
Yeah.
did. I don't know if he still does.
I really want to knock on his door and say, hey, could we do indoor crop production in here? It's huge. It's great. It's downtown. It's really visible. I mean, that would be super fun, but it's going to take a lot of work. And I really have to focus on getting the co-op launched first before I started on that. So, but if anybody wants to take that on, go ahead.
I can jump in, Sue. I like the idea a lot. So here's the baby. Here's
Oh,
Sabrina.
sweet.
But that's a really good idea. And as long we weren't thinking in general when I was on the board about it being all USDA needing, as long as it's GAP practices, so good agricultural practices. So we don't have to have it commercial. But if we want more produce to fill in a bigger gap, then we would need a bigger production, but it doesn't have to be.
Thanks, Ashley.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so we're just gonna wind this up a little bit. Jeff, would you post the link to our membership page in the chat?
I did that. They're all set.
All right, you're wonderful. So it's a one-time $200 investment to become an owner. And an owner can be a whole family. It could be an individual. It could even be a business. We have a lot of businesses that are supporting the co-op through their membership. I just want to thank you again for inviting me to share the current state of the food co-op. And I really look forward to getting to know you better as we move forward in launching the store. So if there are any areas that I have not covered that you're interested in, I'm all yours.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions that they want to fire at Sue?
So is the sign, in addition to the membership, how much more is it to get a sign in your yard?
It's free. If you're a member and you just tell us, hey, I want a sign in my front yard, we will deliver it to you.
I want one.
So that's great. So email it to me or.
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
I got the link.
great.
When do you expect the capital campaign to start?
Well, I would really like to see our membership base be, hovering around 1,000 people. And I do want to see this pro forma, the market analysis and the pro forma. I want to take a look at that before we really decide when we're going to launch it. We might do some little social media just to kind of prime the pump a little bit, but launching it, I'm thinking maybe we'll be, if all goes well, at the end of the year, if we're hovering around 1,000 people, we're going to go ahead and start launching the capital campaign.
Do you have
What's the size of the capital campaign you're going to launch? What kind of money are you having to raise?
Yeah, so the pro forma will tell us that. So we're just guessing based on other food co-ops and other stats from Food Cooperative Initiative. You can Google them. They're a pretty awesome organization. So, it says, hey, if you want to open a 7,000 square foot store, then you're looking at maybe 3.5 million. But that depends on if you already have a building or if you have to build from the ground up, the numbers are really going to change. So, so Kathleen and I just crunched some numbers and said, okay, what if it's going to be 3.5 million? How are we going to do this funding? And I did a lot of research, and I talked to an attorney in Washington State that specializes in helping people issue capital stock. So I was on the phone with the Department of Finance, the Washington State Department of Finance, finding out, gosh, can we do this? And yes, we can. And is it limited? Well, yeah, in certain situations it's limited. We can only invite members to invest. So, the more members we have, the better chance of raising the funds. Can you imagine 500 people, or 600 people funding $3.5 million? I'm not thinking that's really realistic. I don't have that kind of money. I do have some, but not that much. So, so I just did some little number crunching, and I thought, okay, if we need $3.5 million and we issue 35,000 stock shares, then maybe we ask $100 a share. So that'll bring us up to the 3.5 million. I thought, well, you know what? That's pretty reasonable. People can buy 10 shares, they can buy 50 shares, whatever their means allow. We can do it that way. So, maybe some businesses want to invest. So, what do you get? I mean, what do you get with buying, some capital stock? Well, it's just like, SEC in the stock market, right? You buy some shares and you get a return. And so the food co-op can offer, based on its financial position, maybe it will offer 0.5% or maybe all the way up to 5% in a given year, just depending on what the profits are, in that given year. So super flexible. I have had a few people come up and say, I do have a chunk of money that I do want to invest. And, if I get in the very beginning 0.5% a year, that's great. And maybe growing over the year as the store builds and grows and becomes profitable, then the return on investment will increase.
Sounds like a good plan.
I think it will work.
It's a big vision, and I am so impressed with you have been moving it along. I remember when it's like, hey, if you want to be a foundational member, join. And so we signed up because it sounded great, and I just it's a big undertaking to open a grocery store. And only reason I know that is because there was a case study that I was kind of involved with that had to do with a grocery store one time, and it takes a lot of vision to get it going. So I gotta hand it to you on that one. The only question I have is, so you said you had a fundraising committee. And so are they your board members, or is this another group of people?
Yeah, so we have, a fundraising committee, the capital campaign committee. It's kind of all under one umbrella. The capital campaign committee oversees the fundraising, the issuing capital stock, finding grants. So, we may section off, and some of the committee will work on some areas of funding and others, other areas of funding. We certainly would love to have more people on this committee. If anybody is interested, please, again, shoot me an email and we'll get you connected.
But to speak directly to Bobby's question, it's a mix of both board members and community members.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
So,
it's owners and owners and board. Yeah.
So after you finish with this pro forma thing, I mean, will they have like a map for you on, because clearly you're going to need a marketing thing, right? I mean, you have to market this. People got to know about it.
Yes.
And so will they be giving you advice on how that can happen? Or is this pro forma just going to be, yeah, you can make it work. It looks to us like you could make it work.
Yeah, yeah. So they will walk us through step by step. SBS will, and we have another consultant, Seven Roots, who also is helping us build a platform for our marketing. And they also will hold our hands and help us out step by step. Both of these consultants they're doing different things, but they will help us with a successful campaign and the marketing of it. Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't know, you're going to need to think about getting a big anchor donor is what it sounds like.
I think so.
That would be great. I had, Amazon recently bought Whole Foods, so.
Yeah, that's right.
They're kind of big.
Yeah, a little bit.
Any other questions from anyone? I just so appreciate your presentation. And by the way, on my screen, you look fantastic. So that's what the recording will show.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Sue and Jeff, for showing up. And I know you've been traveling, and I really appreciate you just coming in and sharing what you've been doing, and that it's alive and it's moving and it's, but these things, and we're ahead of schedule. We're
Yes.
not even on year 8. So
No. Oh, thanks again.
thank you very, very much. All right.
Okay.
We'll move on to our business meeting, and you're welcome to stay and see what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to try to adjust my screen here just a bit. A second. Okay, I think I'm going to stop this recording. And